Hi, it's Robin. I've got here a brand new cartridge for the Commodore VIC-20, the Penultimate+2. It was designed and developed by Dave Curran of Tynemouth Software and produced and distributed by Rod Hull of The Future Was 8-Bit. It contains over 200 games made over the whole history of the VIC-20, from those made in Japan way back in 1980 right to the present day, including some exclusives, plus a bunch of useful utility programs, basic extensions and other programming languages, a file browser for your SD to IEC or other drive, very versatile RAM expansion, diagnostic tools, configurable boot options, and a great menu system to access all this functionality. This cartridge really does it all. It even contains a little game I made with the help of some friends. Comes in this nice little sleeve with instructions on the back. And it even includes this nice little Penultimate+2 pen. Pen Ultimate. Has a really nice enclosure, nice looking label. No 3D printing here. It includes two buttons. This one is to bring up the main menu, and this one is to reset or restart the game. And they have a few other functions that we'll look at later. They also light up. We'll see that once we have it in the VIC-20, and that's part of why I have the overhead camera on today, so you can see the cartridge actually plugged into the VIC-20 from above. Okay. Here's my NTSC VIC-20 that I'll be using today. Even though the creators Dave and Rod are located in the UK with the PAL television standard, they went to great lengths to support both PAL and NTSC VIC-20s with the Penultimate+2, and I greatly appreciate that. I also have a working PAL VIC-20 thanks to Anders Carlson, and we'll use that for part of this demonstration too, so you can see it working on both types of machine. Okay, so we'll plug the Penultimate+2 into the back of the VIC-20 here. Plug in power, video, and joystick. I'll be using this custom-made joystick by my patron, Karsten Lervad. Today, I've shown this a couple times before, but it's a really nice stick. Just dropping the studio lights a bit so that the LEDs will show up better. Okay, we'll power it up here. And there we are, the Penultimate+2. This is the main menu. Looks really great, and there's a lot of functionality packed in here. There's quite a few configuration settings that you can change to affect how the cartridge starts up. So you don't even have to use the menu if you want to just act more like your normal VIC-20 when you power up and go to basic or some other options. So I've been playing with this cartridge for over a week now, and I just kept finding more and more things to do with it, and kept writing up more and more examples. I'm not talking just about the games here, but all the utilities that are built in, that eventually I just got so much stuff that this episode will take forever. So I've decided to make the executive decision to split this review up into two pieces. First, we're just going to look at the games in this video, and then the next video, we'll look at all the utilities and programming examples that I've come up with, and all the other features of the cartridge. So certain number of purchasers will really just want to play the games, and I understand that. I like the games too. And then for those of you who are into programming or tinkering, that's what we'll do in the follow-up video real soon. But to just give you a really quick overview, down at the bottom, there's all those yellow function keys. And if you do want to just drop into basic, you can just hit F1 through F6, and that's different memory configurations because this is a RAM expander as well. So if you just want to have a stock VIC-20, just press F1, and it will exit to basic, and you'll have your regular 3.5K free. And then just press the green button, and you'll pop back into the menu. If you want a fully decked out 35K VIC, just press F5, and there you are. Only 28K is available to basic, but there is extra RAM tucked into an extra spot that some programs could use. That's not a limitation of the cartridge, that's just a VIC-20 architecture thing. And again, back into the main menu. And if you press H, there's a help menu. And it shows a whole bunch of keyboard shortcuts that are available, just so you're aware of that. By the way, you can use the joystick for navigating as well, but I tend to use the keyboard. And just to look here quickly in the utilities, there's a machine language monitor, some basic extensions, a fourth language, telecommunication terminal, file manager, and a bunch of interesting diagnostic tests. The file browser or file favorites, right now I don't have a disk drive hooked up, and we'll look at that in the next video, but this is a quick way of accessing your files from an SD flash card or other disk drive if you have that. Advanced memory configuration, you can have very fine control over your RAM expansion in here. These are a couple boot options, and in settings, you can actually change the behavior of the cartridge if you want it to be one of these basic expanders, if you're a programmer, machine language monitor, or a really interesting one, boot to random game. It turns the VIC-20 into a random game jukebox. Is that a thing? I don't know. And we'll be looking at that one more later in this video. Okay, so the first option here is Games A to Z. And for a lot of people, this is where they'll be going. Just press return, and all the games on the cartridge show up here in alphabetical order. As I said, over 200 of them. The Penultimate+2 auto-detects whether it's running on a PAL or NTSC VIC-20 and automatically filters out any games that are incompatible with your region or your video standard of your machine. So since we're using an NTSC machine right now, any PAL-only games will be filtered out. But if you want to live dangerously and see all the games anyway, you can press the A key, and it will include all games. So you can see here, for example, now there's 2 different Alien Blitzes, and the second one is a PAL version of the game. And that X at the right indicates that's not compatible with your machine. A couple more, Arcadia, Asteroids, and so on. So you can just scroll through all the games, but 200 games would take quite a while just to scroll up and down. So there's some other shortcuts. You can cursor to the right, and that will jump ahead a full page. If you hold down Shift and a letter, it will jump to that spot in the alphabet. So Shift and T will jump ahead to the game starting with the letter T. By the way, you can also press N to go back to just NTSC games, and P will just show the PAL-compatible games. Back to NTSC. Okay, so to try a few games, let's try Avenger, for example. This is a very early shoot-'em-up made in Japan by Hal Laboratories way back in 1980, and I think it really is one of my favorite VIC-20 games. Lots of VIC-20 games start with F1, so if you try and figure out how to start a game and the button isn't working or whatever, always try F1. Shaking the camera a lot, aren't I? See if we can finish around here. There we go. Boom. Okay, just back to the menu, go to D, and try Demon Attack by Imagic. This is a game that was on the Atari 2600, but they did make a VIC-20 version that's quite good. There we go. Pretty good for a system with no sprites. All those characters were plotted, or all those aliens were plotted with characters. Getting ahead of myself here. There we go. Alright, Demon Attack. Let's try Frogger. Pick up the lady frog. Oh. All right. Just give you a quick sample of each. A classic kind of game, Hunchy. Yeah, late game, 1986. Really tough, too. Oops. This might start off more difficult than any other Hunchback game I've ever played. Oh, I did practice this, but not the greatest sound effects. Oh, that's second level. Okay. New high score. Most other Hunchy games start you off a little easier. You don't have to worry about things coming at you from behind. Oh. You don't have to worry about things coming at you from behind until later levels, I meant to say. There we go. It's like, what, it gets easier? Oh! Sometimes it's tough to jump at the same time. You gotta press the button and move at the same time. Oh, I had that. Okay. So if you like Hunchies, this has some pretty rare games like this Jelly Monsters. I want to see if it does something here. Okay, it says press F1 to start. Okay, and press P to start. So this is a pretty good Pac-Man clone. In fact, it started life as an official Pac-Man in Japan. Okay. So the thing is, I've seen a bug here. I wonder if it'll happen again. Yeah, Hal Laboratory created a Pac-Man clone. Commodore actually had the rights to sell Pac-Man, but only in Japan. And overseas, Atari had the rights to Pac-Man. So what Commodore did was they sold this legally as Pac-Man in Japan, but then when they, after, they just renamed this game Jelly Monsters, but left it exactly the same, like with the Pac-Man, the Ghosts. And of course, Atari went after them legally. Yeah, it hangs off the bottom of the screen there. I don't know if my capture is going to pick that up properly. The VIC-20 is a little funny in that it's very configurable for the video display size, but that sometimes generates kind of invalid displays or like out-of-bound displays. All right. Well, it didn't do this bug. Sometimes the graphics glitch in a really odd way, but I don't think it's the Penultimate's fault. I was kind of hoping it would happen here. I mean, there's some flickering going on and stuff, but it's a lot better than Atari's Pac-Man anyway. But that's not what I mean. There sometimes the graphics, well, it's hard to describe. I wish I just could show it. Oh, well, that's good. Shift J. Another one of my favorites is Jupiter Lander. Okay, F1 to start. So you have to land on one of those 3 platforms, and you get more points and more fuel the higher the difficulty level there. And the goal is to get as high as possible in that yellow zone on the right. It's kind of like a velocity meter, I guess. Oh, there I got full tank. Full tank of gas. Let's try that times 5 again. Oh. Kind of middling again. The closer you are to the top of that yellow zone, the lighter your touchdown, and therefore the more fuel it generates. I like how it zooms in. All right, we'll go down for a try to get a times 10 here. Oh, I never touched. Very good, 6,400 points. That times 10 really helps. I could play this game all day. Let's try. Okay, back to the main menu. Okay, so just to show a couple other features here, this River Rescue, if you notice over at the right-hand side, there's a symbol with a K. And what that means is that you can adjust the screen centering with the K for the keyboard, or if it had a J there, that would mean that the joystick. So what that means is that the game is compatible with this video standard, but you probably will have to tweak the centering. And some games are more extreme than others. So I'll show you River Rescue. If we start it, you notice the screen's a little bit to the left. The river, I guess it depends how this gets captured, but anyway, if you use, most of them are standardized that if you press the cursor key, watch the screen. There, it shifted over a bit. If I press it one more time there, that's about centered for me now. If I was to keep pressing it, it would actually scroll further to the right. And this is one of the quirks about the VIC-20, is that that the programmer can adjust the screen, but it won't necessarily be centered for different video standards. So there, that looks about centered to me. I'll show you a more extreme case of that on PAL later. This is a game that's a bit like a little bit of River Raid and what else? Whoops, I went too fast. You can adjust your speed by pushing right or left. And of course, steer by going up or down. This reminds me a little bit of Spy Hunter on a river too. Okay, and go Shift S to the S games. I want to show you Splatform because this is a game I made with some friends. So I originally programmed this way back in 2002 for the Commodore 64. At that time, my friend Steve Judd wrote the music and the code that plays the music, and the sprites are by my friend Vanya Utne, also known as Mermaid. And what made this game kind of special, and maybe also not as good, is that it got squeezed into 1 kilobyte, 1024 bytes, because it was entered in what we were calling a mini game competition at that time, where people made games for different vintage platforms, but the rule was that it had to fit a constrained size, an artificial size limit. So the size on disk could not exceed 1 kilobyte. So that's why Vanya's an amazing artist, and I only gave her 24 bytes of graphics, so that's why the graphics are so simple. Steve, an amazing programmer and a musician, he made the music and the players, I said, but that also had to fit into that 1 kilobyte. So I think initially he delivered, 500 bytes of music, which normally you'd think, oh, music and code and just 500 bytes, but that was like half my game budget right there. So I said, no, it's got to be smaller. So he shrunk it down, I think maybe to 200 or 300 bytes. I had to fill all the game code and everything into that 1 kilobyte. And then when I came to the VIC-20, Anders Carlson ported Steve Judd's music over to the VIC-20, which has a very different sound chip. He did quite a brilliant job considering the constraints of the VIC-20 and how mysterious Steve's code was. So anyway, thank you to all my friends who helped make this game a possibility. It has 9 different levels and they're procedurally generated, but you'll see they look a lot the same. So here we go. Let's give it a try. Okay, and the goal is just to jump all the way to the right of the level. So you're that bouncing ball. And I love this joystick, but its micro switch isn't ideal for this game. But I will try anyway. Oh, that was close. It's a very finicky game. Actually, I finished the level on my first try. Woohoo! I did it. Got through the first level first try. Hope I made that look easy. Here's the second level. You gotta do that little jump there. Sorry, this is a game I'd be meaning to do a walkthrough at least of the original Commodore 64 version, and the VIC-20 had more issues trying to make it smooth scroll, although I should note that it doesn't still fit in 1 kilobyte. Since this VIC-20 version wasn't being entered in a competition, I wasn't going to spend even more time trying to still fit this into 1 kilobyte. Oh, I'm doing really well. I take it back, Karsten. Your joystick's excellent for this game. Sorry, maybe sometime I'll make a video doing a code walkthrough of how I made this game. Anyway, I'm honored that Rod and Dave were willing to put this game on the cartridge. Thank you very much, guys. It's really cool to have it kind of preserved in this way. So this has all been the NTSC VIC-20. And here's the PAL VIC-20. And this was kindly provided by Anders Carlson, the same guy who ported Splatform music to the VIC-20. He sent the motherboard and the bottom of the case. And then this is actually one of my Canadian-made VIC-20s for the keyboard. But thank you very much, Anders. It's fantastic to have a PAL VIC-20. Okay, so you can see it looks pretty much the same, but I want to point out something. So, for example, that Avenger game that I played on the NTSC, it's still available here on the PAL version, but you notice it has that symbol added with the K, meaning keyboard. It'll need to be centered with the keyboard. So let's start that game. So if we start the game, you can actually see how off-center it is. Some of the gameplay is off the screen to the left. Okay, and actually you can't adjust it while the gameplay started, but I just wanted to show you how everything's shifted off to the left. And that's because this game was originally made in Japan, which uses the NTSC, well, the NTSC-J video standard. So I'm just going to reset the game here, and I'm going to press cursor right, and you see how we can center the game. And if you go too far, it just wraps around again. Okay, so there, now the game will work fine. The graphics look a little bit more blurry. That may be the fault of my video capture device, or maybe this motherboard's a little bit out of spec, I don't know. Anyway, it's not too bad, but certain colors do look a little bit more less clear, less focused. But that's not the fault of the cartridge at all. That would just be probably my video capture. Okay, back into the menu. Okay, so we've looked at just, what is that? Probably 8 or 9 games so far out of 200 plus. You see how much time you could spend with this cartridge. Well, look at this next menu item called Games by Category. And instead of alphabetical, you can see that there's a whole bunch of categories. So, for example, we could look for here, Defender and Scramble type games. Let's just try here. Try Scramble. By Anirog. Anirog. Pretty good Scramble game. I like Scramble. Okay. Restart that again. So just to look through here, there's a bunch of exclusive. The future was 8-bit games, adventure and board games, arcade classics, Blitz type games, Centipede type games, Defender and Scramble games, driving games, Frogger type games, Huco games, Lamorama, I think those are Jeff Minter games. Yep, they are, of course. Maze games, Misfit games. Misfit is a very prolific VIC-20 developer. Pac-Man type games, paddle games, and that's its own category. The VIC-20 also allows paddle controllers, such as these official Commodore paddles here. Platform games, puzzle games, snake games, and Space Invader games. We can actually shortcut into the future was 8-bit. These are a number of games. Some of these are sold through their store on cassette or cartridge, and they're all included here in the Penultimate+. So apparently some of these are exclusive. Pink Windmill Blitz. I was playing a bit of this one. Pretty nice animation on this. And this is like other Blitz games. I think you're some sort of bird there or something. Oh, I'm not doing well at all. I just keep hitting blank existing spots. So basically you're getting lower each time, and you gotta time it right there. Only drop one at a time. Pick your targets wisely, so should try and focus on the highest ones, but also not be wasting a lot of time. That's pretty good. Oh, missed it. Gotta get this one here. Get one of those middle two. Oh, yeah. Yay! Scraping along the bottom there. Meep! I don't think I've actually beat a level before. Meep. Woo! And then the witch comes by. Restart again. 3D monster maze. I think is pretty impressive. Anyone there? Well, press something then. Okay. Roll up. See the amazing Tyrannosaurus Rex, king of the dinosaurs in his lair, perfectly preserved in silicon since prehistoric times. He is brought to you for your entertainment and exhilaration, if you dare. To enter his lair, you do so at your own risk. The management accept no responsibility for the health and safety of the adventurer who enters his realm. The management advises this is not a game for those of a nervous disposition. If you are in any doubt, then press Q. If instructions are needed to proceed, then press I. Otherwise, press C. Take a bow. The ZX81 version by Emmy Evans and the VIC-20 version by Dave Curran. Instructions. The only controls you require are A to turn left, W to move forward, D to turn right or a joystick, M to get a pterodactyl's view of the maze. Is that if you want to redecorate for each move? Okay, here we go. He is hunting for you. So you can rotate. I'm turning, going forward. I'll turn right. Nothing there. Best part of the game is actually when you get found. You can kind of cheat by pressing the M for a map. Well, there, he's straight ahead of us. Footsteps approaching. Rex has seen you. Oh, there he comes. I'm going to run away. Turning around. Whoops. Rex has seen me. No. Ah. You have been posthumously awarded 170 points and sentenced to roam the maze forever. And what else have we got here? Tut Tut. The Future Was 8-Bit presents a game by David Stevenson. The Egyptian Tomb Raid. Oh yeah, I think I played this before. Go in here, get the key. Oh, I'm dead. This is what they call an unforgiving game. Ah. So gotta wait for those bad guys to pass by, wherever they are, mummies. But they just stay in their track. There we go. Up at the right there. There's a key, but that's going to release that mummy. Oh. Dead. Anyway, I like games like this. Bit of puzzle. Bit of maze exploration. We have Tales of Sara, Christina. I think I was trying this one here. This is one of those games by Misfit. Fire for a big jump or up for a small jump. This actually reminded me a little bit of Splatform. Oh. It's a tough game because you have to kind of plan your jumps a little ahead. There's a big jump. Ah. game also has smooth scrolling, a bit like Splatform, but also has this kind of memorization. Bit of a feel like an indie game too. Even the title, Tale of Sara, Christina, makes it sound like it has a bit of a story going on. And back to the category games. So for the adventure games, all the Scott Adams text adventures are on here. Adventureland. And these are kind of their own acquired taste. I'm in a forest, trees, a voice booms out. Welcome to adventure number 1. What shall I do now? Help. A voice booms out. Try, look, jump, swim, climb, find, take, score, drop. Look. I see nothing special. I'm in a forest. Trees. Which way should we go? North. Okay. Look. I see nothing special. East. Look. I'm in a sunny meadow. Large sleeping dragon. Sign here says, in many cases, mud is good. In others... Okay, sleeping dragon. Wake the dragon. Nothing happens. Maybe if I threw something, it's in my inventory. Carrying nothing. Get mud. Can't do that yet. East. Look. I'm on the shore of a lake. Ooh, water. Golden fish. Rusty axe. Sign says no swimming allowed here. Get fish. Okay. Fish have escaped back to the lake. Get axe. Okay, inventory. Rusty axe. Magic word Bunyan on it. Just that Y and the U are merging together there. So you get the idea. There are 5 of those games, all squeezed into these cartridges by Andy Finkel. Apparently they were 24 kilobyte games, and he squeezed them into a 16 kilobyte cartridge and made Commodore and Scott Adams a lot of money. And one other category I want to look at here, paddle games. So I'll unplug the joystick here and plug in the pair of paddles. It's got 2 of them attached to the one joystick port. Okay, we'll try clowns. Oh yeah, that's off again, the NTSC. But we'll just slide that over and see, did I get the right? Press F1. Okay. Using the wrong paddle. Always kind of got, yeah, there we go. I kind of guess. Oh. So yeah, you're a couple of clowns. That's more jittery than I thought. I thought I cleaned these paddles a while ago. Spray some contact cleaner in there. Pop all the balloons, those clowns. What a bunch of clowns. Unplug them there. Okay, I sprayed some contact cleaner in there. Yeah, we'll try again and see if that's any better now. Only just barely. Could actually be like even the VIC-20 itself. Okay. Go back into that paddle games. And I want to try this Vicatone. Made by the excellent Sheila Dixon, patron of mine. I always appreciate her comments. And I think it's really cool she made this game. Okay, so squash, bats large, auto serve, serve. Okay, let's try this. Start. Oh, no jitter there. Maybe some of the jitter was just how the that clown game read the paddle. And maybe Sheila's doing some neat averaging or something like that. I remember when she was working on this. I think I even tested it once or twice. But basically it's like a simulation of a particular palm machine, I think. Okay, so game squash, tennis, football. And the bats, large, okay. Change the speed to fast. And F5 to start or reset. Here we go. Oh, I think we're supposed to be playing with a second player here. But yeah, you see that this would be a two-player game here. Right, so tennis is also two-player. So basically, if you want to play a one-player game, it's the squash here. I'm going to make the bat small, and the speed is on fast. That is tiny. Oh! There we go. Ah! Oh! That's tough. It is very smooth. Ah. Oh! Hey, did you see that? It got hung up on there. Okay, as this video drags on and on, you get an idea how many games, and we've seen, what, maybe 10% of the games on this cartridge. This is why I split it up into two videos. Okay, so just one more thing to look at related to the games here is this one called Rod's Random ROM Runner. And you can choose that from the menu. There's also a shortcut. Just press the asterisk, like the wild card, and a random game will be chosen for you. So this is what, Cyclons. I'm going to take the paddles out and just plug the joystick back in. Boy, this is a little bit Asteroids-esque and a little bit, it reminds me a little bit of Robotron too or something. It's actually pretty cool. Like how you have multiple shots at once. Oops. Not just limited to one bullet. Yeah, I have played this before, but it's been quite a few years. Pretty great game. Cyclons. I want to keep playing this. Okay, so back to the menu. Okay, so yeah, like you get the idea. You could just press start again. Here's another game, Snake Pit. And not really sure what I'm doing here. I'm eating dots. Oh, I'm freeing the snakes, I see. I'm making them free, and that red snake is also freeing them up. Oh, I guess... did I get game over? I'm not sure. Interesting concept. So rather than restarting and pressing start each time, here's a really cool thing. If you go into settings, you can actually make it boot to a random game. And now watch this red LED here. Boot to random game. Watch this. You see how it's white now? The future was 8-bit presents Spaceship -1. And press space. Space or fire. Ooh. Well, I guess those are fuel capsules there. Well, this is tough. It's almost a little bit like Flappy Bird or something. A little bit like Scramble. Ooh. Nice destruction there. Yeah, there's a bit of gel bars, and that's sort of like certain colors on the VIC and maybe on this PAL VIC-20 are a little bit funny. It's a pretty neat game. Yeah, it looks like Flappy Bird there. Oh. Look how destructive it is. I've never seen a VIC-20 game where, like, big explosions like that. Okay, and then you can get another game just by pressing the reset button again. Instead of resetting the game, what it'll do is just restart and load yet another random game. Atlantis presents Forbidden Tower. Okay, so I'm obviously that blue guy at the bottom. Oh, I can jump. Kind of cool platformer. Never played this one before. Oop. I don't know, are those insta-death arrows? I guess they are. Okay, maybe I should try this way instead. Nope, can't jump that high. Oh. Game over. Somebody's probably screaming at me who knows how to play this game. Joystick up, down. Man, there's like almost no space. And if I touch that arrow, I'm dead. But it's like there's not enough room. Can I jump twice? Oh, man. Brutal, these old games, eh? Like how they start you off in situations like that. Okay. Oh. Okay, that's enough of that one. Okay, and so that change even survives a power cycle. I'll show you. I'm going to turn off the PAL VIC, and I'm even going to unplug it. And I'm going to plug in my NTSC VIC-20 again. Okay, I'm going to power it up. You see here, it's choosing another random game. Super Starship, something or other. And you see how it's retained that setting. Okay, so what's going on here? Press fire. Gamer mode. Okay, some sort of shooter. Ooh. Oh, you can fly backwards. Shoot me. Ooh. Pretty neat looking game. Reminds me a bit like Iridium, except vertical. Where you can flip around like that. That's cool. Okay, so I can't. Seems I can't get through the end there. Mission failed. Okay, neat game. Restart. One last one, eh? Forbidden Tower. Oh, well, we've seen that one already. I don't need to be abused by that one again. Cosmic Snake by Frank Lindsay. Ah, like a centipede. Okay, if you're tired of it being random, you can just press the menu option there and go back to settings and instead tell it to boot to menu. Or what you can even do is hold down the left button while you power up. And it'll come back to the menu. You notice that the LEDs turned red again, indicating it's in the normal boot mode and no longer in random mode. So that's the first part of our look at the Penultimate+2 cartridge. It has an amazing amount of stuff to play with. Check out Tynemouth's blog, where I got a lot of the information here. I'll put a link in the video description. If you want to buy a Penultimate+2, then I'll provide links in the video description as well. Both the Future Was 8-Bits regular store, and they've actually got a new web store that's like in beta testing. So I'll provide links to both of those. And I'll be back soon, and we'll look at a bunch of this other stuff, the utilities and so on. I've got lots of programming examples, and we'll go through those. Thanks very much to my patrons for their support. Thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.